country. The apostrophe S was dropped in subsequent publications, creating the name German chocolate cake, giving the false impression of German origin. Even President Lyndon Johnson is said to have served the cake at a state dinner in 1963 with the German Chancellor. Matt Murphy, Fox News.
Yikes! Are those expensive credit card bills arriving? Well, we can help. Bank Pacific has launched our New Year's Resolution Solution personal loan with annual percentage rates as low as 7.49%. Money to pay off your credit cards or for whatever you want, starting at 7.49% APR. Apply in person or online at bankpacific.com and come join us. We're still celebrating. Equal credit opportunity lender. Conditions apply. Happy New Year.
Half a day. This is Michelle from APL Guam. Here at APL, our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated teams in Guam and on the U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit apl.com.
Hi, this is Jerry Roberts. What's happening in the workplace? What about your job and career? What ideas will find their way into your world? That's what you get with The Extra Point every day on The Ray Gibson Show here on 93.3 FM. Sometimes it's about what's in the news, or working relationships, or how to get further and do better. I try to make it interesting, inspiring, and hopefully sneak a little fun in too. Be a part of it. 7:25 weekday mornings. The Extra Point. Brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank.
Listen to The Point anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Find your favorite stations like The Point and discover more. Music stations, local and trusted news sources, sports talk and team coverage, plus today's biggest podcasts. Find it all on the Odyssey app. AUDACY.
Now, Veterans with Benefits, with your hosts, Anthony Tyron and Corinna Ballista.
Because we could see you. So that's what the camera's for. Everyone's going to see. Half a day. Welcome to Veterans Benefits. I'm Corinna Ballista, your host.
I'm Anthony Tyron.
And in studio, we have...
Matt Charfris, Dr. Hoggett.
Bill Salisbury, Tata Jotnya.
So he says.
So we're just going to make a few announcements before we get going. So, Veteran of the Week is Mr. Arthur Yami.
Hey,
Arthur Yami is a retired U.S. Army First Sergeant.
Of course.
He served 25 years on active duty and active duty Army Guard. He served in the Gulf War in support of Desert Shield and Desert Storm. He is decorated with the Army Achievement Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, Combat Service Medal, Meritorious Service Medal, and more. He is currently helping veterans at the American Legion HMI. He also continues to serve by helping veterans in his community. Congratulations, Arthur Yami.
First Sergeant. Cool.
Yes.
Way to go.
And then this past weekend, we went to a Ghanaian shopping center. It was nice to see a lot of veterans there at the VA, what is that? Islands Health.
Pacific Islands.
Yes. It was a PACTEC registry and community call. So benefit travel was there. You were able to check on your claim. You were able to get your blood pressure checked. They were giving out blood pressure machines. You also could get up to date with your shots, your vaccinations. What else was there?
We got a chance to meet with Amy. She's the spokesperson from Hawaii, correct?
Yes, she's their PA.
She said she's going to be coming on to the show, so we'll be expecting her soon. I think, Bill, you made it out there?
Briefly, yes.
And what was your thoughts on it?
Good crowd.
Okay. Do you think that we should be doing that every quarter or more often?
I think we should be doing it every month.
Every month. Wow.
Yep. For the amount of people that are here is going to those things, yeah, they should do it more regularly.
Yeah, and I think, right, we have an uptick, right, of more of our veterans coming out, going down there, and
that's because the word is getting out now.
Okay.
You know, everybody's starting to track that stuff. So maybe that's a good, plant that seed in their brain and say, hey, VA, come on out here more often. A lot of people want to see who you are. They see the name on their letters they receive, but they don't know who the face is. So that would probably be a good idea.
And we had some folks from the CBOC out there. Dr. McDermott was there. We got to say hi.
Mm-hmm.
We also had who was it? The psychologist from up there, Dr. Castro. So she was there also. And we met Miss Frances Mantegnola. Yeah, she's kind of shy. She doesn't want to be on radio, but we still want to mention her name.
We've invited her.
Yes, we invited her. And then we saw a lot of the, what do you call it, organizations out there. Who did you get to see?
I saw Mr. St. Augustine from the GOVA office, the Aston office. I saw the Teton office.
Yes.
They were there. And I also saw Mr. Nick Francisco from Military Order Purple Heart. He was there.
The Vet Center folks were out there?
Yes, the Vet Center. Wait, yes?
Yes, Vet Center had a little table there.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw Dr. Santos and his crew was out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I went on Sunday. What day did you go?
Saturday.
Saturday.
I made it to both Saturday and Sunday, so does that mean I get extra credit for that, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Achievement medal.
Oh, awesome.
We're going to give him a sticker.
Yeah. He's just all out veteran.
But and I mean, that's good stuff, right? And it's good to get our veterans out there. And I believe a lot of them were following up on the healthcare stuff upstairs. They're also doing a lot of their claims downstairs. So the folks from Teason and Aston were working on that with them, as well as some of the folks that came in from Hawaii.
So we want to introduce you guys again.
Again?
So if no one knows who these gentlemen are in this room, they are the reason that HMI was started. So I wanted to ask you, how did it get started? I mean, there's so many questions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so many questions. How did it get started?
Well, the name is Bill.
Okay.
You know, Bill Salisbury came out, he and I know in my godheads, and Nina, I even looked at him and said, Cello, you're Portuguese. Where did you come up with those Chamorro names? But I loved it. I was hooked as soon as Bill told me that. And I said, wow, biblical, Cello.
And that's part of HMI, you know, the way, the truth, and the light is the English pronunciation. And how it all started was all of us was going through the BA process.
Yes.
And as we continue to go through, along with other veterans, we realize the difficulty that going through the process and how a lot of the veterans give up. Even myself, at one point, I threw in the towel until Sergeant Major here decided to slap me on the side of the head and said, continue. So we started HMI 2018.
Started talks.
Started talking. Didn't officially become a nonprofit. And as we started moving forward, we saw numbers starting to increase.
Yeah.
And we were just veterans wanting to put out the word.
Right.
So we did boots on the ground, talked with the mayors, did presentations, and it has over time evolved to where it is now with Karina and Anthony.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely gone a long ways. But also we were trying to kind of crack the code because everybody, you know, remember the three of us used to sit down and says, man, you did it that way. I should have learned that one because, you know, there's a lot of unknowns out there with processing your claim with the VA. But once you start sharing your experiences, then it makes it easier for the next veteran to step up to the plate and file their claim.
And I think, right, that's kind of what has really given us a lot of success, right? And on top of that, too, right, what we try to help our veterans understand, right, is this is disability we're applying for, right? So we got to get some doctor's information in there, medical records, some medical evidence, right? So I think that was part of
Key
what,
right there.
yeah, that was
Medical
kind of what
evidence.
pushed us was, getting Dr. Akoma on there. And
Oh,
by the
yeah.
way, he's one
Blessing.
of
That
our
guy's a blessing.
sponsors, so
Yes, my favorite doctor.
and so
not
Truth be
doctor.
told.
I remember your doctor back in the day was Espanola.
Oh yeah, I know, but he retired, Cello. You know.
So how did you guys come about doing the boot camp, the benefits boot camp? How did you guys
Well,
start that?
started out, Anthony said, hey, let's do an outreach. Great idea. And in my mind, right, the outreach we were supposed to hit every village mayor, and we were going to count all the veterans. But then it's like that light bulb, you know how Mr. Tyron is, that light bulb goes on and says, hey, why don't we start teaching them about their benefits, It's like, But yeah, that's Anthony and Bill. I'll give them the credit. I was just that the Chogi boys just kept following them around. Echilagwagwa,
No, Sergeant Major supported 100%.
No, that's right. And then I think, right, at all the different areas that we were at, right, I think the support from each other was really what pushed us forward.
Was
Because
key.
there was
Correct.
times when I was like, I don't know if this is it. And then, he'd say, go, right? And then Bill would also say, hey, what about this? And we say, yeah, let's do this, right?
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
it was awesome getting the veterans together. And maybe one of the things, right, we don't want to forget, right, who was the Fortune 500 guy that was with us at the same time when we
Mr.
started?
Brian Hahn.
Oh, yes.
Gosh, I was
Brother
going to ask
Brian.
that question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Brother
It's
Brian.
okay.
Brother Brian.
Yeah. So
The Ara Portuguese.
That guy.
yeah, but Brian's doing quite well over at Togi,
Yep.
and at one point he also helped with our first run, right?
Yes.
Remember
Yes.
that?
Yes.
He came out and wanted to
The 5K.
get us
Yeah.
going.
He
So
was the one that did the first run. Yep,
Yeah.
that's
on,
right. Yeah.
on top of Richard and Manny and
Yeah.
Ben over at the
Oh,
Run
yeah,
Club,
Richard
because
Kaisigui. Yep.
I forgot where it was at. I think it was at when we had our first
Manu,
behind
yeah.
us at the cafe. I talked about Richard forcing us to do a run.
Oh, yes.
But-
Came out the list and says, no. Hey,
But-
this is a schedule.
Yeah,
but that-
you guys are here.
But that was great, right? And for all the things that those, because they're veterans too,
Yep.
Yes.
right? And they
Yep.
said you got to have a veterans run, and that's where we're at, right?
Yeah.
We have a veterans run, and we had it for 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yes.
then
Yep.
and now we
will
we
be
have
our
to
third.
continue it,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Our third.
got to continue.
So one of the guys who's with us now is John Pangilinan, right? Another veteran,
Yep.
right? I think you worked with him at the
Oh,
Guard.
yeah.
So-
Marine, soldier, I don't know what John is. He stands up for all the services. I think even for Space Force.
So one of the things we're trying to do at our next run is we're going to challenge all the active duty bases and the Guard, everybody, and we're going to create a cup. It's going to be the Veterans Cup, and they're going to have to come out and
Perform.
they're going to actually show who's going to make that cup theirs, and it's going to be bragging rights.
Yeah.
And too bad the Sergeant Major's no longer in because
Yeah.
he was one of the fastest guns
No
in town.
more.
Yep, he was.
No,
But
cannot.
it would be great to see all those people vying for that, especially the
Yeah.
young ones, right? And base commanders, this is a pride thing. If you don't come out and you don't try to get that cup, we want to know who's the fastest.
Would we name this the Governor's Cup? Ooh, I'm just throwing it out there, I'm used to Admiral Cup, Tag Cup, General's Cup, Post Commander's Cup. So
let's let our veterans decide that.
come on,
what-
veterans.
Put out a
What we gonna
poll.
call that? Yeah,
Put out a poll. Name the cup for the run
Yeah.
coming up.
There
name
you
it.
go.
Name it.
Miss Karina, you're dying to
Okay.
say something.
Oh, so I want to thank our sponsors. I forgot to do that.
Okay.
What?
Yes.
You forgot to thank the people that are paying you? Oh, okay. You did.
So thank our sponsors, American Legion.
Yes.
Chris Turan over there is
Chris.
the post commander for Legion 1, located in Tamuning, behind Elite Bakery. Our other sponsor is Hebzibah Clinic, Dr. Akoma.
Yes.
They're relocated next to St. Anthony. And then Guam Eco Services, Guam's only dustless blasting
That's Eco Surfaces, right?
surfaces.
Yes.
Surfaces.
Right.
And they can be reached at 671-686-2603 for a quote.
Yeah. And don't forget our folks over at Ambrose, right? And by the way, both of the owners there are both veterans.
Vets.
And for us, right, they're very supportive when we're doing our different events, and we like to really thank them, every opportunity we get, because they're helpful for our veterans when we get things out to do our boot camps and any other events. So is that everybody?
I think so. And if you're listening and you want to sponsor the show, reach out to us. We are always looking for sponsorship.
So going back to the evolution of HMI, right? As we continued moving forward, it was more veterans helping veterans, which is the baseline of what HMI was created.
Right.
Hence, by veterans for veterans.
Yes.
Is what it is now.
That's right. And I think the two kind of came together, right? Because initially, right, we said, what are we calling this, right? So the chat group was the first part that started when we were bringing veterans to the clinic.
Yep.
And we called it By Veterans for Veterans.
By Veterans for Veterans. Yeah.
Then we formally had to get the name for the nonprofit, right?
Right.
And that's when we all went over to HMI,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's good information. Man, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it is.
Man,
It
you guys still
seems-
look, you're getting younger, the two of you.
And I'm already forgetting those days.
I already lost hair.
That forgetting part is a good symptom when you're going after your mental health condition, sir.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
What did I do last year? I don't remember what I did 5 minutes ago.
Oh, gosh.
anything else, ma'am?
No, I just wanted to mention what we're going to do next week. And if anyone wants to call in, the call-in number is 671-888-8255 TALK. And another question for the founders of HMI. I know you guys said you guys were just sitting there talking about it, and you came up with, Ihanana Imagahit Zeni Anina. Who created that logo? I love that logo.
So, believe it or not, the initial logo was created by my daughter.
Okay.
His goddaughter. Sergeant Major's goddaughter.
No, God. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Your daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. So she created it. We talked it over, kind of tweaked it, and then it became what it is now. Yeah.
And then before that, we did the By Veterans for
And we did
Veterans.
the
So
yep.
this was done by my granddaughter. So what had happened was when we met, we said, hey, we need a logo, right? So I told her, draw something.
Right. And we wanted to include all the services.
All the services, yep.
And by the way, we have to change that now
Because
it
of
should,
Space Force.
Yeah, it should be 6 Laddie Stones, right? And
Yeah.
the Pentagon might have to be
We'll have the Enterprise on the top hovering. Captain Kirk.
and that's going to change to a hexagon, right? That's 6.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Pentagon will now be a man. Are they going to change that in the Capitol, right? Because
I don't know.
Right,
No,
it's a
because
Pentagon.
Space Force is on top.
Let me call Joe and we'll ask.
I like to say hi to those online watching us. We have Marvin Crisostomo watching us, Mike
Hey.
Francisco watching
Marvin.
us,
wow.
Scott Dees
Talk about sponsor.
watching
Marvin?
us. Yes. Oh, Marvin, they called you out.
Call you out, Marvin.
They called you out, Marvin,
Hey.
to sponsor us.
And by the way, speaking of Marvin, he made it to our resolution
Yep. Yeah, he
event
was there.
on
Yeah.
Friday.
That's
With-
right.
Oh, yes.
Of course, thank you to Senator Jesse Lujan. He was the one who put out the resolution that we were celebrating on Friday.
And then
Senator
Senator St. Nicholas.
Senator St.
Hey,
Nicholas
we're
came
being
up.
watched all the way from North Dakota.
Hey.
Hello to Raymond McGravy. Am I saying that right? McGravy.
Very nice.
Watching us in North Dakota.
North
Thank
Dakota.
you.
Hey, we got far reach. Are you guys paying people to call in?
That's right.
Oh my God.
Space Force.
Oh, the
Yeah.
So this is the new show on the Point Veterans Benefit. So this is just our second show. Last week we introduced our sponsors. This week we introduced the founders of the organization that Anthony and I are a part of. And we do this thing called a benefits monthly boot camp, and so I wanted to know the history of how it started. I mean, I'm just coming in, year 3, but I wanted to know, it's very important to, don't forget, who started this, why we're here today, and that's why these guys are in studio to share their story about why they're here today, or what even sparked the idea, because these benefit boot camps, we have anywhere from 40 to 60 people show up, and we remind them that you wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you guys, and that's important. That's an important message to push out.
Yeah, and kudos to, again, these guys when we were sitting down together too, right? Because we all said, hey, what are we going to do? How are we going to help our veterans? What's going to be helpful for them? And I think sometimes right place, right time, getting things, out, it's what they needed, right? So we kind of fit into a little area that nobody was actually pushing too hard with. So it made it very good for us. Right timing, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So
So the question was, how did we start the boot camp? Is that what you're getting at, Karina?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that guy over there, Hotel Mike India. Yeah, that's, but yeah, we came together and we put our thoughts, and like I said earlier, each one of us went through a process. And like I said to them, I says, I don't want my fellow veteran to go through the same pains that I had to figure out how to file a claim. I mean, there was a lot of people that helped me along the way, but I also had to learn a lot of stuff on my own. So, these two smart guys here, they just started researching, and they came up with all kinds of stuff. And then Mr. Tyron says, hey, let's include this on our community outreach. And then that community outreach turned into a boot camp.
Yeah.
Which was a great idea. And it's kind of like took off like a rocket ship,
Yes.
And it started out with maybe just a handful of people, and then now it's like you can't even find chairs in the room. We had to go find a bigger venue.
That's right. And for that, we thank a lot of our mayors, right? Because they're offering up a lot of their spaces.
And their time and personnel.
But we knew that going into this. We said the mayors know who the veterans are in their villages.
Yeah, and by the way, right, speaking of two things, right, so more recently, and we'll talk about it, right, we had organized a task force, right, and it comprised of just a real small group of people, Tim Puzon, Joe Moffinas, Alan Turner, the Legion folks, right, and General Paulino. We had Rick Cruz from the Purple Heart, Johnny Atulai, right? So we actually, we got together because what had happened was the commission wasn't meeting since July of last year. So we wanted to say, hey, what do we got to do to make this thing work, right? And the commission wasn't up and running. So we started to put things together to have that task force. And in that task force, now we're looking at, hey, they put out the advertisement that they needed to on Friday. So the director, Jose San Agustin, got that thing happening today. So next Friday, this Friday,
yes,
we're having two really big events that are going to be important for our veterans. And we need to get our veterans to all come out there and support both of these things, because these are the types of things that are going to continue to bring us together and, send out messages. So that being said, right, these are the things that if we can bring all our veterans together and start having more positive feelings, like you said, when they went to meet each other up at Hilton. Remember that? That was huge. And those types of things are what our veterans like, and they start seeing each other and talking, right? And it's helpful. So when we start to do these things, right, we're now able to say, hey, these are positive and these are negative, and maybe these are the things we should be shooting after, and our veterans feel
lessons learned.
Yes, more important. So we'll talk about those two events once we get back from the break.
Yes, we're going to go.
But in the meantime, we'll talk about that on the other side of the break.
See you after the break.
Yes.
Securing America.
Officials from the United States and Iraq will soon begin talks concerning continued American military presence in Iraq. During a briefing Thursday, Pentagon Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh listed the key issues the talks will focus on.
The threat from ISIS, operational and environmental requirements, and the Iraqi security forces capability levels.
Singh says making sure that the ISIS terrorist group cannot regenerate as a more forceful threat is paramount to deciding how the American-Iraqi coalition moves forward.
We want to make sure that the threat that we saw 10 years ago is not the same threat that we face today.
And Singh added that the meetings are not about the withdrawal of American personnel who are in Iraq at that government's invitation.
This is about the future and making sure that Iraq is set up for success in defending its own national security and sovereignty, and how the U.S. can support Iraq in doing that.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Yikes! Are those expensive credit card bills arriving? Well, we can help. Bank Pacific has launched our New Year's Resolution Solution personal loan with annual percentage rates as low as 7.49% when you pay off your credit cards or for whatever you want, starting at 7.49% APR. Apply in person or online at bankpacific.com and come join us. We're still celebrating. Equal credit opportunity lender. Conditions apply. Happy New Year.
The Wendy's classic you love with our new pretzel baconator. Same delicious taste with a half-pound of juicy beef, American cheese, 6 strips of crispy applewood smoked bacon, ketchup, and mayo. But now with our legendary pretzel bun. You can't top a baconator, so we twisted it. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's pretzel baconator.
Say what? Oh, hello. Welcome back. We are back. So go ahead, Anthony. You wanted to finish talking about.
See how she just threw that hot potato over there? She was supposed to open up with something, just threw it over there.
Well, that's good. So we always got to be
You're
ready.
a big guy. You can take it.
I know. I can take a lot. We were talking just about the commission getting started back up, and the director finally was able to get the advertisement out on Friday. And this last Friday, this coming Friday, they're going to have the commission meeting. I think they posted all the agenda already in the paper. I think it's talking about nominating people for positions, correct?
Yes.
And then
Awesome.
And then the following month, I think, is the vote. They're going to do a voting of some sort. So
I'm not sure how it works, but yes.
Yeah, but we'll see. But at least we're moving, and the task force was put together to try to get that to happen. And we tried to see how it is that we could support the director with trying to get that commission back up, because it's something that at least we have something that would be able to collectively bring our veterans together, and that's what the design of the commission is. So,
well, remember when we started HMI, right? We also reached out to a bunch of other organizations to come on board and kind of tell their story in regards to helping veterans and all that. So I think the commission in itself is imperative to get it back online, so we know when we pass information out or when decisions need to be made concerning veterans, we're not doing it by ourselves.
That's right. And some of the things we've actually started doing, even with the through the task force, was I believe Ms. Karina has already started an email chain or email
Single
listing.
point.
Okay.
Yes.
And you want to talk about that real quick?
Oh, so where there it really is nowhere right now, on Guam to get one location to shoot out all the information that we get from all the organizations or local veteran events happening, or even national. And things change all the time with veterans. Laws are being changed, amended. So there really is no one location. So in the task force, as part of the new initiative that Anthony's going to talk about on Friday, is collecting email addresses and saying, hey, do you want to be part of this email list where you push out information so you get it probably weekly or monthly, quarterly, or, you know, just somewhere to have all the information.
Well, I
in
think
one
this is a great
location.
venue right here for a source of information.
And let's, like, we've talked about how this came about, right?
Yeah.
So Sorensen Pacific was shutting down.
Right.
Johnny Atule had us on the show several times, and we were talking about, you know, these exact things. And when they finally shut down, we were forced to come looking for another place to do another veteran show.
Right.
And
the more the merrier.
We were looking for one, and we ended up with two.
Yeah.
But wait.
Which is even better.
But wait, there's more.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Poppy owns Kish and K Stereo, and we want to thank him as well because he allowed us to put public service announcements out in between the music radio, right? So, you know, we're talk show here. Over there, they're playing music, but when there's time in between, what he does is he allows us to put out little PSAs to help our veterans receive the information. Not as much as what we're doing here or what we do at the boot camps, but it at least gets the veterans little information out there. So that's a part of what it is. So we had one, we're going to lose it. Now we got three places to go, three sources. So
awesome.
That's great for us.
And that's how getting that information out, educating the veterans, whether they're Vietnam or Afghan, Iraq, it's collectively, like Ms. Karina said, one central information, one area, and everybody can learn from it.
Right, and I think Ms. Karina has worked on getting them on calendars as well. Is that correct?
Really?
The K Stereo has a calendar.
Oh, yes, K Stereo has a calendar. They have a
So
community calendar.
There's a calendar here.
And there's a calendar here at the point, yes.
Yeah, we're not sure on the Vet Talk side, right? Whether they have a calendar.
I think.
How
I'm not
does
sure.
a
I think they
veteran
do.
access the calendar?
No, it's public information.
Okay.
So they could just go to their website and then see the
Yeah,
calendar.
that's what I was getting at.
And then
Okay.
K Stereo and Kish, they push it out.
Okay.
They say community calendar, and then they start announcing all of the events that are coming up.
Yeah.
That's what calendar is.
So I think we're starting to really, get our veterans, back into the know and, keeping them informed and educated about the different things. I mean, three visits ago, we were up at Top of the Mar. The numbers weren't that huge.
Remember that? Yeah.
When one visit ago, we were at Hilton, and the numbers just ballooned.
It just keeps blowing.
Yes, and now that we got them out, I mean, they did a great job. The Hawaii folks I think every single day they had an advertisement in the paper, and that made made for our veterans to see it. It was hard to miss, right? And I guess all the chats as well, right? And we just got to keep doing that. I mean, it's something that the only way for us to get information is to do it amongst ourselves and find different areas to do that. So that's our thought on that. Anything else we need?
Did you want to talk about the other thing about Friday?
The other thing.
While we had started the task force, there were things that were going on about different things we might need. I think you mentioned that earlier, Matt, about doing the count or finding a number.
Yeah.
So
That's always been a challenge.
What is the number count?
It's so elusive.
Even when I went as far as did research, because a lot of the veterans don't know that we actually answer to Hawaii, and that's what we try to educate the veterans. So Hawaii has a number, Guam has a number. You call DC, they have a number.
Yeah.
So collectively,
Matt Charfus has a number.
whenever it evolved over time, like the outreach, the boot camp, we're still trying to lock down that number.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
And as more veterans come up, more veterans understand the process, I think it would solid give us a number.
Yes.
That's what I think.
And you have anything to...
No, that number is, I mean, I remember, and where can I go? Madeline Berdalio was Congresswoman.
At the time.
And she came to the guard and says, what is the numbers? How many veterans do we have on Guam? Is it 10,000? I'm like, I was like, whoa, I think that's a kind of, but we could never figure out the exact number. And I don't know, and that's why I was so interested on that community outreach. I says, did anybody like poll? I mean, the census went by. I wonder what the numbers are from that.
It was really low, I think.
Yeah, so
was
that's
low.
where I'm getting at. So
It didn't.
low.
It didn't even meet the same numbers as the CBOC numbers, because the CBOC
Or
numbers,
Hawaii's numbers.
right? Yeah, and we don't really even know who controls that, right? And this is a conversation. So, I had an opportunity to speak to General Polino this morning, and we talked about the task force getting to assist with getting the advertisement out for the commission, right? And that has materialized. So that was a good effort, right? So I guess he was thinking maybe our next target should be to try to find a way to get that number that we're talking about, right? So I think if everybody collectively from all our businesses that are owned by veterans, even just like other means of gaining these numbers. So one of the things that will be happening on Friday is the governor is going to be proclaiming 2024 as the year of the veteran.
Yay.
So
Cool.
in some of those efforts, we would hope that maybe the agencies, maybe we could get the governor through this proclamation to have our agencies to start maybe counting how many veterans are in each agency, right?
They used to do that before.
Yeah, and I think DOA, with our discussion with the director right now, he had mentioned that there's ways to get to it, right? But so when people apply for a job, right? They write down whether they have veterans preference or not. And,
Yeah.
But I think a lot of this, if I'm not mistaken, has a lot to do with what they call PII.
Yeah.
Is that correct? And you probably know about that, right? What do you
Personal
think
information. So we don't necessarily need PII, personal information identifiers.
Right.
What we need is, let's say, for fire.
Right.
There's so much veterans that applied and is current, active, right? Or retired. Even retirement fund. We could go to retirement fund, because even retirement fund, when you apply or when you decide to retire, they have veteran or a veteran credit, where you up to 3 years if you retired at a certain time or if you bought in.
That's right.
It would add years to your government service. So that's one other way. And I remember when we were doing boots on the ground outreach, we tried. We even went to each of the mayors and we asked them, "Hey, mayor, what's your number of veterans in your village?"
Right.
And they had a number, but not knowing that they either had more or they had less. And, I had one veteran jokingly tell me that if you really want to know the numbers, go to the cemetery. That's the numbers we have.
Yeah. Well,
Had.
And it would have been had. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so with the proclamation, right? I mean, I think if and I don't want to steal any of the governor's thunder, right? But this could be the things that we can be asking of the government agencies, right? We're not saying, hey, give us all your money, right? But we're saying, help us with the little things that we might be needing, right? One idea was to try and get, when folks come in or travel, right, there's the customs form, and I think that's handled by GVB. But if people are coming in, we can determine whether they're coming in and if they're a veteran, if they mark the box, right? And if they do that, we can find out, because right now we got a lot of folks that are coming in to work here that are, vendors for federal contractors. And if they're here and they mark that box, right, we start knowing that, hey, we are getting veterans who are registered from different states that are here on our island taking advantage of the services. So it's good for Big VA to know, hey, there's 200, there's 100 veterans from outside utilizing our services. And if that's the case, those numbers should be something that we should be
That's
getting
your point, yeah.
to get us to have some help. But that goes back to the agencies, right?
We have someone online asking the question, what good is a count? Why would we need this number?
Now that's on the Facebook.
On Facebook, yes.
Oh, okay. So right now, when they're looking at the count, right, the count
Numbers drive funds.
the
Yes.
count is what got us up to the annex up there at GRMC.
Right.
So when you talk about how did we get that, right, you got to remember in the past 3 years, right, we needed to ramp up veterans going out and, putting in their claims, veterans going to the doctor because your claim requires you to have some medical evidence. And these are the things that helped us to get that annex, right? And that's why the numbers are important.
Yeah,
Right.
and
That's a good question.
plus numbers. If you truly want a VA hospital or some kind of facility bigger than the CBOC, I mean, okay, let's back it up. CBOC, how did the CBOC end up here? It was numbers.
Yes.
There was a certain number that the VA saw in Guam, says, okay, you're justified for a clinic.
Yes.
So I keep saying, no, we're justified for a hospital. But, if the veterans don't want to step up to the plate and says, hey, I was a veteran, if you're not proud to serve and then you're not getting counted, you're shortchanging every veteran on this island.
Yep.
And not only this, Marianas,
Yes.
Micronesia.
Yep.
So it just requires a veteran saying, hey, I want to be counted,
And there were some folks that I've come across that just don't want anyone to know they're a veteran, and I'm not sure.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but I
We
think
run
there
into
was,
them all the time.
So one of the guys that I ran into was law enforcement, right? And I think him getting onto some registry of some sort kind of opens him up to other people being able to see that this guy's a veteran or who he is, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure.
That goes to education.
Okay.
Bottom line, that goes to why we continue to educate the veteran on the type of benefits, regardless of your current occupation or past occupation.
Right. Okay. And by the way, right, when we talk about count, right, so what I've learned from Dr. McDermott is, so most of our veterans are not very keen on having the virtual appointments,
true.
right?
That's true.
And they like to see people face to face, nose to nose. They want to see a person. So what we're learning is that the system is technology's advancing, and in order for us to get more help, we got to get there first, right? So
Something like the telehealth,
yes,
video,
and if we could educate our veterans to say, hey, look, this is just a start, right? If we register there and we try it and we tell them, hey, I tried it, I didn't like it. And that's one of the things I did myself. I tried it and I wasn't comfortable. I did not like it. But at least I gave it a chance, right? I said, let me try. So
But we have some veterans that are technologically challenged.
Yes.
And that's a problem. And on their end, goes back to why they're not comfortable.
Right.
Is because they're not as tech savvy as the veterans coming up behind them.
Right.
True.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not as tech savvy as the veterans coming up.
Yes. So let's go back online. We have some comments. So hello to Edward and Dan Pakaigui, and
Ike.
William Cruz is watching.
Hey.
And
Bill.
Joe Sablon and
Yes.
Heidi
Hey.
Bennett. And then Charlie Hermosa asks,
Hey.
are the numbers
Governor.
accurate?
What?
Yeah, he's asking if are the numbers accurate, and then we have Adonis Mendiola saying, "Don't delay assessing your past, present, and current health, fellow veterans."
Yeah, true
Oh,
that.
wow.
And then
All familiar names. Then.
yes, and then Charlie
I must be a
Hermosa's
veteran.
yes, a veteran. So Charlie Hermosa's question: are the numbers accurate? That was something we were talking about, Charlie, earlier. Matt was
Yeah.
saying, and
Yeah, how do you validate the numbers, right?
Yes, and how do we get an accurate number?
So and those are some of the programs and initiatives that we're looking at, and campaigns, right? And we're trying to get, like we talked about, the government agencies, right? Let's get maybe Customs and GVB to maybe put a little circle there just to get something. We could also get the count from each agency, right? Get them to say, hey, celebrate your veterans during this year of the veteran, right? And we'll try to pull those numbers. Reventax, DOA, these are folks that have some information, but how do we collect all of that and how do we process it? And maybe that'll be our next move, right? To just as veterans, right? And collectively to help each other. And then we got 2 other programs that we're talking about. A rewards card, remember? If we could get the businesses that come in. I mean, and that's a totally separate number that we can use to vet the government numbers with our folks who are applying for these benefits cards, right, or rewards cards. Yeah. So okay, we're going to
we're gonna go on break and then we'll be back with some more.
No break. No.
We'll be back, guys, after the break.
So we're on a road march. You can take a break.
Yikes! Are those expensive credit card bills arriving? Well, we can help. Bank Pacific has launched our New Year's Resolution Solution personal loan with annual percentage rates as low as 7.49%. Ready to pay off your credit cards or for whatever you want, starting at 7.49% APR. Apply in person or online at bankpacific.com and come join us. We're still celebrating. Equal credit opportunity lender. Conditions apply. Happy New Year.
Everyone has a busy schedule these days, and sometimes we forget to schedule our routine dental checkup and cleaning. Don't neglect your dental health. Schedule one today with Dr. Robert Yang and his Smile team, conveniently located at the East West Business Center on Marine Drive, Upper Tumon. Call us today at 647-8702 or 3. Again, that's 647-8702 or 647-8703. We make smiles happen.
And we're back, guys. I think there's just so much to talk about. We just started this show. This is just our second show. And we have so much more, to talk about. But in studio, we have Matt Truffers and Bill Salisbury, founders of HMI. And for those listening who do not know what HMI is, it's Ihanana Imagahe Zani Anina. In English, the way, the truth, the light. And so they're the founders of this organization that started, I guess they saw a need to help veterans. So they started by Veterans for Veterans, which is now evolved to HMI. And so they started this monthly benefit boot camp, and that's how a lot of veterans find out about HMI and filing their claims. And that's what we talk about. We talked about the numbers earlier. So let's continue that conversation. We still have some people commenting online. Okay. Hello, everyone. And Charlie says local, federal, regional numbers. They all need to align. That's true.
True.
Yes. Yeah. And then Roy Leon Guerrero says, doesn't ASIN have DD2 Form 214s? Maybe you can have a baseline number of how many vets are registered. And then Adonis says, not all specialties in the community except TriWest VA care in the community. Yep. Who needs to know and act on that? These are very good questions. Mm-hmm. Very good questions.
Going to the ASIN office, yes, they collect DD214s, they help veterans, but the ASIN office is more geared, at least from my perspective, my opinion, is more geared on the death side.
Cemetery.
Right. So when we created HMI, we wanted to stay away from the cemetery.
Yeah.
And we wanted to prolong the veteran's life.
Yes.
So that veteran can get the necessary attention, medical, disability, compensation. That way, it not only evolves to the veteran, but to the family, and so on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, GVAO also has VSOs, right? So, they do help with the benefit side. Last thing I know was 4. I don't know, might have increased since, but 4 is not enough. They're overwhelmed. Those poor.
Well,
guys,
you're absolutely right, and I think we've come so far, even as veteran organization and veterans ourselves, right? We this whole you're doing this, I'm not doing that. I have to share with you, we have more than enough work and more than enough veterans that everybody can join in and help and do this along the way. And again, the celebration of Year of the Veteran brings more things to us, right? You know, we toyed around up at the mall thanks to Renee Lau, right? He asked us to come up there and set up, and we need more folks to do that, right? And by doing that, it also brings up like a little play on, you know, wanted people, or like there's some sensitive terms like undocumented veterans or unregistered, right? But we also want to do something where it calls captured, right? So if we get out there, right, and if we could maybe get our businesses to come out and say, if you find a veteran who has not been registered at CBOC or has not registered down at ASEN, right, we'll give you a free lunch. You see what I mean? Or, you know, just incentivize folks to go find these veterans. And why is it important to find them? Because what we know today is this. More so than ever before, now is the best time to be a veteran. And why is that? Because the VA is allowing them to come in and understand a little bit more about what their benefits might be, whether it's medical or whether it's compensation, which puts money in the veteran's pocket and gives them health care. So if we can use a lot of these campaigns and initiatives, we'll better find the numbers. We'll better get everyone to come together and do the things that we're trying to do. So,
and that's always been the objective, even when we talked about it from day one, is collectively trying to put the veterans together.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like the different branches of services. You won't find a Marine hanging out with an Army.
Right.
But today,
or Air Force. But today,
now look at us.
we're all hanging out.
We're just hanging out.
And I'm Air Force, just so you guys know. And
I'm Army.
I'm Marine, but that's all your fault.
I'm Air Force too. So I need to talk about, you know, before we end the show, what's happening next week? What's happening next week, guys?
Monday.
Next week?
But boot camp.
Okay.
In Alahan.
Yes.
The
Boot
beautiful
camp.
village of
But what boot camp is that? That's boot camp 25?
25.
Boot camp 25.
The dates.
So, yes. So for all of the listeners, if you don't know, like I introduced HMI. So what we do every month is we hold a benefits boot camp. So next month, February 5, 6, 7, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m., we're going to have a benefits boot camp at the Inalahan Community Center, right next to St. Joseph Church.
Yes.
And everyone's like, "Where's that?" I said, "Remember by the water? That church by the water? Yes, right next to it." So if you need to register, send us a message. You can send me a message on 671-682-7631 or to Anthony 671-688-3607, and you'll get to watch. And I told Anthony this when I first went to boot camp. I was like, "Oh man, I love Bill's presentation. You guys have to come and watch Bill's presentation." So he's the first speaker at Benefits Boot Camp. So it's 3 days, and you're going to ask the question. Everyone does, but do I have to go to each day? Yes, because each day is different. First day we talk about intro, and we talk about the law and what a claim is, and then the second day we talk about required forms, and we have a spouse come and talk.
It behooves you to show all 3 days. So you know, if your time if 1 day is a lot of information. You know, you know, so just put it out there.
The boot camps are there to educate the veterans. So the veterans have to understand that when you go down the VA journey, it's not going to be 3 days. It's going to be 3 to 5 years.
Yes.
You have to understand that.
So we have one more minute. One more minute. One more minute before we end the show. If you had a message for the veterans that haven't filed their claims, what would it be, Bill and Matt?
Well, me coming from Matt Charfris, if you're a veteran, be proud, Cello. You know, there's so few of us, you know, nationally. There's so few of us. So you guys stand up and help each other out. And you know, benefits is something that you deserve. You guys served your time. You broke your back. You spent a lot of time away from family. You guys need to get compensated for something. You know, and I know I'm talking too much because Jose's looking.
I concur with Sergeant Major, hands down.
Friday, come out to the sliding of the proclamation.
And next week for Benefits Boot Camp.
There you
go. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
5 to the 7th.
See you next Monday.
Yes, next Monday.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Point is KUSG, Hagåtña, Guam, 93.3 FM and 104.3 HD3.
Attack on the U.S. military. I'm Ted Lindner, Fox News. 3 U.S. service members are dead, at least 34 more injured, following that drone attack on an outpost in Jordan this weekend. President Biden blaming Iran-backed militias. Fox's Trey Yingst with more.
Right now, the Israelis are keeping a close eye on the situation, understanding that their forces are currently battling other Iranian proxies inside the Gaza Strip and also from southern Lebanon, the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. There is a concern that if the United States ramps up strikes against Iranian proxies in the region or targets Iran within its own borders, there could be a response that would target this key American ally, and the Israelis have to be prepared for that possibility.